open your Gmail and hit 69. We are live.
Whoa, 69. Come on.
That's
yes, it's me.
right.
69. There we go.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Oh. CJ, you know what I watched again on the plane, second time watching it? Did you see Longlegs?
I did see Longlegs in theater. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it in the theater. Mike, I think you said you didn't see it, right? You don't like scary movies.
No.
I liked it even more the second time I saw it.
Did you?
Yeah. I thought the thing that I didn't notice the first time I saw it was how good Blair Underwood was as the other cop, you know? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, the movie's so good. And it feels so Kubrick-y the second time I watched it, you know?
I appreciated how different it was from like most horror that's come out
that
I've seen, at least in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
It was a nice change of pace.
Yeah. The the scene in that apartment complex where she identifies what apartment the guy is in.
Yeah.
Like that scene also is so like nerve-wracking because you know something bad's going to happen. You just don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see the Monkey, the Osgood Perkins remade Monkey Shines, the Stephen King movie. So,
like, if you had the opportunity to work on a horror project, would you take that up, or is that like so far out of left field that it wouldn't happen?
Yeah, I mean, it'd have to be like a horror comedy or something.
Like Scream, something like that.
Scream is too scary for me.
Scream is too scary for you?
Absolutely, yeah. Slasher movie? Are you kidding? Jump scare?
Oh my God! Wow.
I watched Scream. I feel like I've told the story before, but I watched Scream when I was like 6 or 7 years old at my uncle's house, and then as my dad was walking me to the car, my uncle like jumps out of the bushes and scared the shit out of me.
Oh no!
And it just like never again. Like it's just that's it. So I didn't at the time when I was 7. I wasn't like, oh, Scream is like satire. I didn't. It was just very scary.
The first Scream is definitely scary, but every Scream after that is like they just lean more and more into it.
Yes.
So you can like appreciate that.
No.
I saw the first Scream, I think, 12 times in the theaters.
That's crazy.
I love that movie so much.
Very good, yeah.
All right, let's do it. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Sign up for Draftkings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com. And to get your free processed pup patches, put them in your cart and use code FREEPATCHES at checkout. Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process, briggsauction.com, and Kinetic Skateboarding. Get 9.1% off your first order with promo code Dave Silver. On the show today, the Sixers embarrass themselves and all of us against the Pistons. Daryl Morey talks about the trade deadline and delivers a quote that I'm sure won't be thrown in his face hundreds of times over the next several years. And the return of the voicemail, because we got a couple of great ones, and I'm not letting Mike bully me or you into not using them just because he doesn't like them. Kinetic Skateboarding, I mentioned. So we're going to get snow this weekend up here in the Delaware Valley. Going to get snow this week. That if you're a snowboarder, that is great news. If you're just somebody who goes to work, it's fucking terrible news. But if you're a snowboarder, it's great news. Even more great news is that Kinetic Skateboarding is your snowboarding headquarters. Do you need a snowboard? Kinetic. Do you need accessories? Kinetic. Do you need your snowboard tuned? Kinetic. Wax? Kinetic. All that stuff. That is your one-stop shop. And if you go to kineticskateboarding.com and order any of this online and it's your first time, you want to use code Dave Silver for 9.1% off that order. CJ, do you want to talk about your apartment here that you got a sublet?
Yeah, sure. So,
okay.
Long story short, my girlfriend Kelly got a new job. We're moving to DC. We currently live in Philly. We need to break our lease.
Josh Harris.
Yep.
That's the
They're Commanders fans now.
He's following Josh Harris.
We're following the path.
Yeah.
We need to break our lease and pay heavy fines unless someone takes the lease over. So if you were looking for an apartment in Philadelphia, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, I made a post on the website so you can go check it out. It has more details there. Or you can email me or DM me. You know where to reach us. But
give your email address here.
cjcoil0@gmail.com. It's looking like a mid-March move, flexible, like give or take a week or two. Wow. So if that description fits your needs, please reach out.
Live with CJ.
Live with CJ. Will you leave at least one personal item hidden if it's a Ricky listener that takes it away?
Yeah, I will try to find a crevice in the apartment that I could sneak in a little memento for
a personal item. There you go. There you go. Rent CJ's apartment. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Forever.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy whose favorite team is in the Super Bowl, but that doesn't mean he can't be embarrassed by his favorite basketball team. That is one, Mike Levin.
I hate them. I was in a bad place last night.
Yeah, this is the worst season of all time. It's the worst season of all time.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
the
you
worst
for saying
season of all
that.
time.
It's the worst season of all time.
It's not even close. It's just like last night was perfect in its encapsulation of how furious you should be.
Yes.
Because the first half was just a straight up utter disgrace, right?
Yes. Disgraceful.
Lack of effort, lack of execution.
Yep.
Oh, like nobody cared. It was from the best player to the worst. It was fucking terrible. And then they couldn't just let you die with some what's the word I'm looking for? With
Dignity?
some dignity. They had it in the second half, make this like little run and make it seem like, oh, if we had just tried in the first half, maybe we would have won this game. And on top of it, while they're making this run, just make so many fucking mindless errors that it makes you feel stupid. Just let me go to bed at halftime. It was fucking terrible. Worst season ever.
Yeah. I'm just furious.
Yeah.
I'm just like furious at these guys. And me and AU finally on the last pod had like the argument that we've been having.
It's great. It's a great argument.
He's such a piece of shit and I hate him. No, I love AU. He's the best. But I really like I'm blaming him for this. I'm like staring in my mind. I'm staring at him like, is this what you want? Is this what you wanted? Is this the team you want to go for it? Just embarrassing to lose to the Pistons, who are a solid team, but to lose to them when they're missing Cade Cunningham. Yep. To give up 42 first quarter points to the Pistons without Cade, 78 points at the half, which is the most they've had since 1982. It's just so embarrassing, dude. The defense is so painfully embarrassing. Nick Nurse thinks that the only chance that the Sixers have to defend anyone is to turn them over. You have to get turnovers, otherwise it's over. They're hopeless. So they just leave guys wide open trying to slowly contest everything. And every game we're watching them not match up in transition, watch them so quickly press the button where it's like, hey, we're going to zone now. Maybe they're fooled by this zone. And they just give up corner three after corner three. They ball watch so much. Malik Beasley's on fire. Doesn't matter who's covering him. They're staring at the ball, not noticing him like sneak away like a fucking, Looney Tunes cartoon. To cut away to a wide open three. He has a career high 36 for a guy that they could have signed year after year and never did. Just so embarrassing that the Sixers are the 11th seed. They were 10 games under 500 coming into this game. And Daryl at the press conference says Cleveland doesn't want to face him in the first round. Then they lose to Detroit without their favorite player, like with their best player. I'm like livid. I'm so mad. I was so mad last night watching these fucking losers and this whole organization. And if you want to say like, all right, it's just over. Embiid isn't the guy to build around. Paul George doesn't have it anymore. Maxey is getting like poisoned by this stuff. Thank God Jared McCain is not that around the team.
Honestly, it's a gift and a blessing that Jared McCain got injured this year, so he doesn't have to be near this team.
Maybe I would still like to see. It'd be nice if he was here. But like, if it's over, if we're saying like, hey, this is over, I don't want to just be like, okay, trade Embiid, trade Paul George, just like move on. I want the entire organization gone. I want they might need to change the name, change the logo, change the color scheme. I want if we're saying like, oh, this era just isn't working, I want every single person associated with the team, all the advisors, all the fucking Tony DeLeos somehow still sticking around on the payroll, whatever version of that is in like the marketing or PR or ownership, like minority owners, whatever. I want the medical staff, HR department, I want everybody gone. I'm sure there's going to lose some good people in that, but unfortunately something is rotten and we cannot afford to take any chances. We have to get everybody gone or contract the team or just lose them entirely. Move the team, send them. Actually, don't even move them because it's too bad. We have to like poison like a
Seattle doesn't deserve this.
No, Seattle doesn't. But if you like move the team, then you go like, oh, okay, something some disease that is still attached to the team might inflict
Spread.
the next one.
Yeah.
You have to just like totally explode it.
Yeah.
Like a this is probably not appropriate, but like what they used to do to like lepers. Like they should just like send
not appropriate.
Not appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's not appropriate. But the Sixers, it is appropriate.
Yeah.
It wasn't appropriate then. For the Sixers,
sure.
it is appropriate.
Right.
I think you just need to end it. We've been hoping maybe the podcast ends with the championship. Oh, it'd be so nice if we just win a championship and we can sail off in the sunset. Well, instead, we end the podcast because there's no more team.
Yep. Can't talk about the team anymore.
Can't talk about
exist.
it.
Yep.
And there it goes.
Yep. Yeah.
Losers, man. Fucking disgraceful. Everybody. 100%.
And so we had this. Might as well do this here. CJ, could you put up the little fight that that Embiid and Oubre got into, and then we had an interesting voicemail attached to it. So here it is.
Embarrassing effort from Joel in that.
Embarrassing effort from Joel.
That's not like that's Asar Thompson dunking that you can't get to him. It's Malik Beasley. You can affect the shot, bud.
So then here, and we're watching the video here if you're just listening, Embiid is yelling at Oubre and mimicking him getting back on defense slowly. Yeah. Oubre is basically like, brother, you haven't played in 6 weeks. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm beating myself to death here, screaming at each other. So we got, I think this
they eventually hug it out because Maxey mediated it, and that's good for Tyrese. But like, where does Joel have the right to do this?
Right. I thought this. Let me play. We got a good voicemail about it. Let me play. 833 Lickface.
Hi, Spike, Mike, CJ. I don't have a question. I'm just here ranting. Watching this Sixers Pistons game just ended. I'm still fuming about it because I see this clip come out of Embiid, Kelly Oubre getting into an argument on the sideline. You can see Embiid's clearly mocking Kelly for not getting back on defense on one play. Joel wasn't getting back on defense the whole game. He wasn't going up for rebounds. Kelly actually jumps for rebounds. That helps you get them. Maybe Embiid could learn a thing or two about that. But I've been, I like Joel. I've been supporting him. I'm a fan. But it's kind of turning me against it when I'm seeing his lack of effort. Yet he's going after guys on the sidelines for lack of effort. A guy who's played in most of the games this year. A guy who has been going up for rebounds, playing good defense. If he jogs back on one play, his jog is almost faster than your running. I feel bad for Embiid physically, but that's bullshit in my opinion.
I totally agree. And by the way, it makes it difficult. Like let's take the current context of this particular game out of it. Makes it hard for the best player because you want the best player to be able to yell at the other guys on the team for lack of effort, but it makes it hard when the best player is only playing one out of every 3 games to even be present enough to I think be vocal at all with anybody when they're out there every single game, trying to keep the team afloat while that guy's not playing.
That to me is less like Embiid has been hurt. It's not like he's been, Jimmy Butler right now, which is like, I'm sort of like whining, trade me. I'm not happy with my contract, like that kind of thing.
Well, he's a little of both though. Right.
Well, yeah. So that's what I'm saying is like when you play, like you're hurt, you're hurt. I think it's weird that like the national media like makes fun of him for being injured and missing a lot of games. I find that to be bizarre. But when you're playing, like you have to play fucking hard. And last night he wasn't playing hard at all. He was lazy. He was lazy on rebound after rebound. Like the Pistons just like ripped rebounds away from him or tipped it away from him. Got like a tip dunk. Asar Thompson got a tip dunk off his own free throw miss. Because Embiid was just like kind of casual with the ball there. Embarrassing turnovers when he wasn't trying and when he was. He doesn't like contest some Tobias stuff inside. Eventually he blocks him once, but like Tobias had multiple tip dunks and like just embarrassing stuff. Embiid on offense, foul baiting, flailing around inside, started 1 for 9 on the game, just throwing the ball up, expecting the refs to bail him out. He just needs to be like, when you're playing and you're healthy enough to play, you need to be like a bad motherfucker piece of shit. And too often he just plays really soft and slow and fucking tepid. And guys just like get him on his back foot. And yeah, he locked in the third quarter and I resent him for it. Like I hate him for doing that. I thought it was a disgraceful game from Joel. And look, before the game, I think
Yeah, the third quarter made me more mad because
Yeah.
what was going on?
why did
in
you
the
have to wait
first
until you were
half?
down 36 or whatever
Right.
to finally start trying? Like, that's pathetic. And before the game, I think it was Stephanie Reddy on the broadcast. Or I forget who it was. Maybe I was listening to a different broadcast with Stephanie Reddy. Someone on the broadcast said they asked Tobias before the game, who are you excited to see, like old teammates wise?
Yeah.
And he said, and he thought about it, and he said, Maxey, and that's about it. So it's like, if Joel is going to be a teammate that people don't like playing with, if he's selfish, if he's not like a leader in that way, if he's whatever, then like I need him to take that onto the court as well and be like, okay, you don't like me? Well, I'm a fucking asshole and I play like an asshole and I'm on the court and I'm a motherfucker and fuck you because I'm going to beat you.
Like
but
Jimmy
like
Butler.
you can't be a piece of shit teammate or just like a lackadaisical teammate or like a non-existent leader teammate and then yell at Kelly for whatever. And then on the court, just be like, oh, well, like I'm throwing my hands up. Like everybody's letting me down. Like, woe is me. It was really like embarrassing. And if you're a person and I'm this person right now, and I'm sure like in like 1 or 2 podcasts, I'll be back to like loving Joel. But like, if you're a person that just watches Joel and go like, he's not the guy. He's just not the guy to build around. He's not the guy that's going to lead us to a championship. He doesn't have it in him. Like, I can't blame you for that. Like, I can't blame you for being
you
like,
can't
I'm just done
argue
with it.
against that. There's more evidence toward that than any evidence that toward the opposite.
Yeah, it's just so embarrassing, dude. I'm so pissed off. I'm mad at him because like I defend Joel all the time, constantly. I'm constantly defending Joel. I think he has suffered like a ton of bad luck and bad people around him. But at a certain point, like, and this started really with the like completely no showing in the Celtics game 6 when they were up 3-2. Like at a certain point, you got to fucking look in the mirror, dude. Take some goddamn accountability. We talk about Ben Simmons not taking any accountability for his whole life. Like Joel, at a certain point, make a choice to not be that guy anymore. And he's still like acting like he's just so good that he doesn't have to like follow the rules everybody else does. He doesn't have to be a good teammate. He doesn't have to be a leader. He doesn't have to like mature and play hard all the time. He just doesn't. And it's last night was the day after the trade deadline to play like that was infuriating. It was one of the worst games. I almost like I wanted to like show up at Daryl's door and just be like, what the fuck?
Well, I just thought to myself, this is what I'm doing on Friday night. Like, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to be dead in 30 years, 35 years, whatever. And I will have known that one of my nights that could have been spent hanging out with my family or my friends was watching this bullshit. So the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. That's not bullshit. What a lead in that is. Sorry, Big Barker. Big Barker is a good thing, right? My dogs, Rebel, Scotchy, they both sleep on Big Barkers. Your dog should sleep on a Big Barker too, if you love your dog. If you don't love your dog, whatever. I don't know why you adopted the dog, but your job as a dog owner is to love your dog, give your dog the best life possible, and a Big Barker is going to do that. Go to bigbarker.com. Throw the patches, search for patches, put the Process Pup patches in your cart. Use code FREEPATCHES at checkout. You get your dog not just the best bed anywhere, but 2 free Process Pup patches, a black and white one, a red, white, and blue one. Iron them on, send us a picture, put them up on our Instagram, official Process Pup. Why is this bed better than other beds? Why is it better for your dog? What's going to keep your dog healthier? Because your dog needs to sleep on a real bed like you do. Right? Has joints just like you do, living thing just like you do. Imagine if you slept on a bad bed every single night, right? Your back would hurt, your joints would hurt. As you got older, that would creep up, that would get worse. It's the same for a dog, except a dog can't talk and can't tell you it's happening. But I'm telling you, that's why you should do it. The Big Barker dog bed, engineered by experts to support your dog's joints. And as they get older, as arthritis creeps in, keeps the effects of it off. Rebel is 11 years old, has been sleeping on a Big Barker for I think 7 years now, 6 years, whatever it is.
Rebel's 11. Jesus.
11. Isn't that crazy? I mean, we were doing the podcast when I adopted Rebel, 10 years ago. But jumps around like crazy. We, just had his checkup, said there's actually no problems with joints or arthritis or anything in that. Look, some of that's obviously natural, but some of it I attribute to the Big Barker. There was even a Penn Vet study that showed that all of these things are true. Comes in little tiny ones, Barker Jr., all the way up to the giant one. There's a 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. A 1-year at-home trial. If you don't like it, they'll give you a full refund. They'll even pay for the shipping. Handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds.
Woof.
All right.
So, and it's a dog reacting to the Sixers.
Yeah. a couple of other notes on this fucking terrible game. So Paul George eventually, I can't believe that hand doctor that wrote in was actually right about Paul George's finger. He's going to have to keep the splint on it. He does have a torn tendon. He's going to have to keep the splint on it for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But I think he has 1 rebound in the 2 games he's played with the splint on it, maybe 2 assists. Look, I'm a coward, right? Like when things hurt, I hate it. If he's worried about getting his hand hit, rebounding the ball or dribbling the ball, then I don't think he can play basketball. It seems like a problem. You can't have like 1 rebound in 2 games. You can't have 1 assist in 2 games when you're averaging 6 and 5 in those categories too.
A nightmare, dude. Like his defense is still pretty solid one-on-one, and he can still get his hands in there and like and get deflections and shit. But and I've been defending him because I do think the defense is still good and the shooting gravity is still there and the makes will follow. But I'm really getting tired of just so lackadaisical on offense. Like everything's so slow and methodical and late clock. And his first 3 makes were all long twos off the dribble. And it's just like, that's just not taking contested long twos is just not like a sustainable strategy. It's not good offense. It's not like you're getting it like in the rhythm of the offense. It's just, okay, time for Paul to go ISO. And he's going to take like a step back 21 footer. And I hope it goes in. And if not, just run on down the other side. Like it doesn't involve the teammates, doesn't make the defense work. It's just like easy shit to cover. And you just go like, oh great. If he makes that, God bless you. That's how I want other teams to play against. Like I want to force if our defense was forcing like Tobias long twos, I'd be like, great. And if it goes in, whatever, it's not going to keep going in. That's fine. And the fact that like that's our offense. And theirs is just, the defense is really just Paul George sucked last night offensively. I really just so resent the Sixers for winning those 5 out of 7, those 4 games in a row, and then 5 out of 7, because they could be the 6th seed right now in the tanking standings. Paul George could be resting his like half falling off finger. Embiid could be doing whatever the fuck he wants, basically. Like if you want to just like go, like. Whatever he thinks he should be doing to like get healthy and stay healthy and like get ready for next season when it matters, if it might matter ever, then like go do it then. Because like if you're going to play and you're going to force them to play and you still think like we're a team that is worthy of your time, I'm just going to do
if you're going to play, then play. If you think the best thing for you is to play, then actually play. Like, the trade deadline happened at the worst. We were calling it 4 weeks, but the trade deadline happened at the worst possible time, like the worst possible time when everyone was starting to come back healthy. It was like looking like it was going to come back, and then they won those 4 fluke games in a row, and they're just like, then they blow a big one to Boston. They can't defend against Denver. And they're just going to be hanging around the 9 to 11 seed the rest of the season if they stay healthy or whatever. And they're just not going to be enough to get a serious pick. And Spike, I can't believe they didn't trade Eric Gordon. I cannot believe it. I'm like apoplectic about it. So like the idea that he was on a heater shooting like the best anyone's ever shot for like what, a month, 3 weeks, a month? 2 months. I mean, he was shooting over 50% for almost.
He was unconscious. The fact that you couldn't get a decent pick out of him,
he was
or just like a young player.
He was trying to get traded by playing it.
On a young player on like a second contract, on a reclamation contract that was like, like a late first that didn't have a spot somewhere else. You couldn't get them to come here. Like the fact that you were like, no, we need him. We want him. We want to keep him. There's no way there. I will refuse to believe there was no market for Eric Gordon. That there wasn't some team, some Orlando type team just willing to go like, all right, here's a 2nd round pick next year. We're the worst shooting team in the team. And I've said Orlando a lot because they're the obvious one. It's crazy that Orlando didn't make a move, but like some team didn't trade anything for him. And that was like, well, we think he could be helpful here. And now he's played the last game. He didn't hit any shots. This game he played truly the worst game I've ever seen from anyone. He was atrocious. He missed all of his shots. He turned the ball over 3 times. And like he just 6 times when there was a loose ball that he just like did not exert any effort to get to. Made a lazy pass to Paul George that easily got picked off in the backcourt. Just taking years off my life. Eric Gordon still being here is rapidly becoming, because he was so hot for those 2 months. Now, because of the circumstances, my least favorite Sixer ever. Favorite Sixer ever.
He wanted to get traded. That's why he was playing so bad. He's the one that leaked the meeting. He doesn't like Embiid. He doesn't want to be here.
Maybe he's right. Go somewhere else. It's crazy that they didn't trade him. It's insane. Daryl, What the fuck?
Grimes looked pretty good.
I'm not ready to talk about Grimes. He doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve it. And it was also, by the way, I mean, Maxey started hitting shots towards the end, but it wasn't a good Maxey game. He started forcing stuff. We're going to get into
I watch a game like this and I just think to myself, because we'll get to it in a little bit, but like I've said this before. I can see where you're coming from in the AU debate. I can see where AU is coming from. And
one of us is right and one of us is wrong. You can see where we're coming from, but there's a clear, correct person.
I actually don't think there is, but
20-31, AU's like, go for it. Well, lost to the Pistons by 1 million. AU's like, now's the time. Let's do it.
Hang on.
Paul George's finger is hanging by a thread. AU's like, yeah, this is it. Got to go all in. Bet my house on this team. Grow up.
Point being, if everybody's going to be playing, I just don't know how a game like last night happens. Like, you guys have some personal pride.
Gutless.
You must.
Gutless.
You must. If you're gonna have to play, you must want to make the playoffs. You must look at the Pistons and go, well, we're better than this team. Like, you must look at that, and you must realize that the hole that you're in requires you to not dick around for a half. You are 20-30 coming into this game. You have not earned the right to take any team lightly, and you haven't earned the right to not care because you're playing. So if you're playing, and if you think you're better, and if you want to be in the playoffs, you absolutely positively cannot have a first half like they had last night
without Cade Cunningham.
They don't
have a point guard. They weren't playing a point guard. Malik Beasley was playing point guard. Tobias was running point. Asar Thompson, who is not the point guard his brother is. It's like, just truly embarrassing. Whatever the defense that Nick Nurse thinks he has, so much of Kyle Lowry on the court is just like rotating to the rim. Kyle Lowry is constantly rotating the rim on defense, and then his guy gets a wide open three. And maybe Kyle's thinking, and maybe he's right, that there should be other guys rotating afterwards. You put them defense in rotation, and Kyle's like, all right, I'm going to come here, and then somebody else will cover my guy for three. Maybe that's what he's expecting. But it never happens. And it's a big reason why the Sixers give up the worst effective field goal percentage in the league. The worst effective field goal percentage in the league. A lot of that is minus Joel. A lot of that is just like, guys have been hurt, whatever. But the defense isn't working. It's not a thing that works. And too fucking often, guys just cannot or will not keep their guy in front of them. Just defend a guy. If you were playing this way on a playground or at a gym, and guys are just constantly blowing by you, someone would call that out. You would get called out. You would get screamed at. Hey, cover somebody. And I don't know if it's Nick Nurse or whatever the assistant coach is that runs defense. I forget his name. Whatever, it's not working. They think okay, when we're going to rotate, we're going to have all this thing, and you're supposed to be here and you're supposed to be there. It's like wide open shots, makes at the rim. Yes, they force turnovers sometimes because sometimes they're just length throwing at people, whatever. The Pistons in the first half had 20 some assists just because wide open catch and shoot shit. It's just he's running defense like the other team is half blind and they won't be able to see the wide open player right there. And it's just insane. I find it insane. And I want Nick Nurse to lose his mind or stop changing things or start changing. Just be like, hey, nobody's coming. Nobody try to say hey,
I
Kelly,
think he lost his mind once and he did it and it worked for 5 games.
But you shouldn't fucking need that, dude.
But then that's
it's everything about this team is so infuriating. And I'm not even making sense right now. I'm just fully losing my mind. So I'm sorry for not presenting a cohesive argument, but they're just an infuriating watch. And we were so close. We were so fucking close to just having a relaxing tank year where you could go, all right, don't worry about April or May. Let's lose some games. Joel's not going to get re-injured on the court because he's not going to play. Paul George and his myriad of injuries takes a year off. Maxey, who played, once again, 39 minutes last night, at least he can play a more reasonable number and not tax himself so much that he's going to get wear and tear on him and all of a sudden have to be out for times when you're going to need him. You can and maybe you get the top 6 pick. What a good opportunity to add another high level, high upside talent to this team that you can either add or incorporate into this roster if you think that this is still the Embiid team that we're building around is still plausible, or Maxey McCain and that top 6 pick can become the next generation that you feel really good about starting a base on, and whatever you get for Paul George, whatever you get for Joel this offseason, both of those things. And instead, they win those 4 games. They make it seem like, yeah, we're on the right track. And now we're 20-31. You lose by 1 million to the fucking Cade-less Pistons. And Kelly and Joel are fighting.
Tobias Harris laughing his ass off.
Tobias laughing his ass off, having a fucking blast. By the way, Tobias, 0 for 0 from 3. In your face. He doesn't even need to take a 3. 0 for 0. And he still does that. Just a complete embarrassment. I'm glad Yabusele didn't play in that game, so he doesn't have any stink on him, because he's too nice of a young man for that. But I mean, they shouldn't be allowed into the building. People should be like suspended. Like that was so pathetic. That was so pathetic, and the entire organization should feel shame. And there was a moment on the broadcast when I got the ESPN broadcast. By the way, stop broadcasting the Sixers nationally. For God's sakes, shouldn't be allowed. Pass a law. Pathetic. Stop it. But on the ESPN broadcast, there was a moment where Joel's on the bench, like down whatever, and he's like laughing with a teammate or something. And I'm just like, don't fucking laugh.
You're not allowed to laugh tonight.
You're not allowed to be laughing.
Not in public.
If you want to have like a nice night afterwards where in the locker room you guys are laughing, or you have a night out with your family or something and you're having a good time, that's fine.
Maybe
but like
go home,
during the
watch Old
game,
School.
during the fucking game,
Seinfeld.
what'd you say?
No, nothing. Nothing. Continue.
During the game, you cannot be like chumming it up. You should be embarrassed. They should feel more embarrassed. They should feel constantly more embarrassed. And Joel, I don't know if he's just like, I'm just so checked out because of all the injuries he's had to deal with. But like the guy that cried after the Kawhi shot, that was just so like emotionally invested that he was like weeping in the hallway to the locker room. Like, where'd that guy go? Where the fuck did that guy go, dude? They should be embarrassed. Gross. I'm embarrassed. It's egregious. Pathetic. Embarrassing. Awful. It's really, really bad. It's so frustrating.
Everybody should be a little embarrassed.
I want a remix of that where it's darker. It's too peppy for how upset I
Embarrassed
feel.
you are. Yeah. Well, the Super Bowl is on Sunday, and DraftKings Sportsbook is where you got to go to bet Super Bowl 59. Now, before we get into a bet that I like, Mike, and this is a happy time, Tom wrote in with a Super Bowl question. I know what my answer is. I'm curious what yours is. It came into rights to rickysanchez@gmail.com. Option number 1, you can hit a simulation button, which gives the Eagles a 95% chance on winning on Sunday. The caveat is that you never get to watch the game, including any replays or highlights. You can partake in the parade, but you'll never get a full understanding of how the game unfolded by watching it. Any conversations that take place around you about the game are muted out to you like a Black Mirror episode. The alternative is you let the game play out as it's intended to. Spike, leave your job out of it for obvious reasons. In this universe, you're just a diehard fan. So, Mike, you don't get to watch the Super Bowl, but the Eagles win, give a 95% chance of winning it, or the Super Bowl just plays out as it is.
The second one.
Yeah.
Part of being a fan is that you want to
watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no.
I don't
Yes.
get any joy out of I get some joy out of other people getting joy, but I want the joy. If I don't really get any joy, I don't
If
get
we
any
can't
joy
even
just
talk about it,
knowing
then
they
what's the
won.
point of even being there? It's like hearing about like a championship that they won in like 1933. It's
Yes.
like,
Didn't
okay.
even happen. Who knows? But DraftKings Sportsbook,
Also, part of why sports are fun is because the threat of
They might
like
lose.
heartbreak is there.
Yes. Or in the case of the Sixers, the threat of heartbreak is imminent. Always there. Yeah. If you're a new DraftKings customer, you use code RTRS. You bet $5 to get $200 instantly. So I started looking at. Have you ever bet alternate spreads?
No.
Okay, so essentially what you can do is lay more points and get better odds. So the thought being, I sort of believe if the game is like within 3 points, we're definitely losing. So we'll give our picks here, but you could lay 7.5 with the Eagles, but get plus 326 odds. So instead of just getting the 1.5, you lay a touchdown and a half point, and you get plus 326. Or if you wanted to lay 3.5, you get plus 166 or whatever like that. So you can do that with an alternate total too. And of course, there's all the TD scores. There's like 8,000 different props for the Super Bowl. Novelty props, coin toss outcome. What are you betting coin toss? Tails never fails?
Tails constantly fails.
Yeah, it does. It does fail a lot. Color
Give
Gatorade.
me heads.
Color Gatorade. Yellow green is minus 295. Orange is plus 450. Purple also plus 450. Clear plus 1600.
Give me clear.
Who will the Super Bowl MVP thank first? God is minus 110. Teammates plus 160. Family plus 550. City fans plus 1,200. Team owner plus 2,500. Which Eagle is most likely to thank Jeffrey Lurie first?
Jalen could do it.
No, he would thank God.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
But if he forgets about God for a second.
Yes. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code RTRS. RTRS. New customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details. Your official Eagles Super Bowl prediction?
I don't, and this is nothing against DraftKings. I love betting on the Super Bowl and random props and stuff. But I don't like doing it when it's the Eagles.
When your team's on it. Yeah.
I would only bet against the teams that I root for.
Yeah. Do you have a score prediction for this game?
I mean,
I give you mine, but
I haven't thought about a score.
Okay.
I've been wanting to blow them out and step on their throats and not give up and make sure that the villain is dead. Don't just tie him to a pole and be like, they'll die eventually.
That's good. He'll be fine. Yeah.
No, you got to make sure they're dead.
I'll just walk away slowly.
Yeah. Don't be walking away slowly. You got to make sure you got to see it. You got to check the pulse.
Cut the head off.
Be a full decapitation.
Yep.
I'm going to say, oh God, this is going to be so wrong, but why not? I'm going to say 31-19.
Okay, mine was close. I have 29-20. My prediction in the game is we'll always have the lead, but we will always be in danger of losing the lead.
Yeah.
Like we'll never be able to extend it to a place where we're comfortable.
Yeah.
It'll be miserable into the end.
I prefer the way that it's been covered. I think like people being like, well, the Eagles are the better team, but we're not going to bet against Mahomes.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I understand that.
I totally get it. It makes perfect sense, actually. Yeah. Quick question before we get on to the Daryl Morey press conference. And we've gotten this twice in email, and we got this as well. And I think you're a good judge.
What's up, Spike, Mike, CJ? This is Sam calling from Denver. Just two quick basketball questions I observed during this Heat Sixers game and during the Mavs game last night. One, do you think that Justin Edwards has smoker arms? I hate to say it, but I feel like he kind of does. And then two, is there any chance of Dem bonus from the future? I don't know why, but that guy just looks futuristic as hell. Thanks, guys. Love it.
So Justin Edwards, we've gotten a couple of notes about Justin Edwards having smoker's arms.
Yeah. I haven't thought about it, but I think absolutely yes.
Yes.
I see it, hearing it, it's like sort of like a light just came on in my head. Like absolutely he has smoker's arms, unfortunately. And you can grow out of that, by the way. You can get stronger and lose that. But right now, yes, smoker's arms, Justin Edwards for sure.
And do you think a Dem bonus from the future?
I like the theory. I mean, he just like, if people from the future are falling down all the time, like he's just got to do some balance drills or something, bud. You got to be sturdier. You got to be like way less falling down because he's tall and long and it's hard to utilize that height when you're on the ground.
Yes, he is on the ground a lot. Well, he's learning from Joel, maybe,
Yeah, unfortunately. But we should talk about Quentin Grimes before we do it, because at least some nice things.
He looked good. He looked like a functional guard who shoots and plays defense.
He looked great, dude. Yeah. Forces a turnover on his first defensive possession, gets to the line, hits his shots, and then his first contested three off the catch. A couple nice attacking and closeouts, finishing through contact at the rim. He played hard, tried to get out in transition, which he didn't realize that we don't really do. He contested hard. He blocked a three. He drew an offensive foul. He was always engaged. I thought he was excellent. He's exactly what I want him to be. and I feel bad that he's saddled with this team. Oh, you thought like, man, the Mavs are going to be so sad after they trade Luka. Nope.
Yeah, welcome.
You found the sadder team.
Yep, way sadder. Not even close, actually.
But yeah, I mean, I thought he was great, and I really like, yeah, just like the whole team, man.
If you're Yabusele, why do you like? I don't know. Another place might be.
He
fun.
might just really like the fans.
Yeah,
that might be it.
Yeah, because
He
they
might have
love
enjoyed the Eagles
him.
game. And I do think there's something enticing about like going to an Eagles game, seeing like how good it is when they win, and being like, this could be us. They're wrong.
Yeah, it'll never be.
But like a feeling that happening. Yeah, I mean, and Paul George is really the perfect. People have said this before, but the perfect person for it to be that Paul George driving through an Eagles celebration,
Yep.
unaware that it was happening, and
Yep.
seemingly like a little bit like disoriented
Yes.
by it. Not
what
like,
could this possibly be?
Yeah,
What are
not
they so
having
happy about?
a good time. Yeah.
Certainly not us.
A couple more things about the game before we get to Daryl.
Oh, God.
Kyle Lowry missing a wide open layup, like he's like one of the random people picked from the stands for a make a layup, make a free throw, make a three contest, was so embarrassing. And if you miss that layup, you shouldn't be allowed to be in the NBA anymore. Like, all he does now, and he's still a heady passer and he can still make a play from time to time, and that matters when they're like fully optimized. But when they're down 40 to the Pistons and Lowry is like grifting or doing crazy shit, like it's just not cute anymore. Either play basketball or retire. And I last night, his performance and being like, I'm Nick Nursing, like I'm pressing the Kyle Lowry button. He's just not capable of doing that anymore. And on a team with like more athletes and more intensity and shooting, that he could.
Well, and he has to play
useful?
less minutes too.
Yeah,
fewer minutes.
Could he be useful? Oh, CJ going to show the miss? Is that what this is? Okay, so
Well,
it's jittery for me, but
yeah, it's jittery for me too.
It was really bleak. And yeah, Oubre losing a rebound in the lights like an outfielder. Did you see that?
Well, he's got to use eye black next time, I think.
That was tough.
Yeah.
He goes up for, he's once again going up for a rebound with one hand and not getting it. It's like, Kelly, use that other hand. If you're going up by yourself, you can go up with one. But when you're contesting, go up with two, because then you have the other hand to really grab it. And so such an important part of getting a rebound is the grabbing. But yeah, I love Kelly. Still great. 14 and 11. You know, he can go 1-on-3 because how easily he can get to the paint. Like, I appreciate him, and he also doesn't deserve this. And really, like, Andre Drummond coming in, his slow ass comes back into the game because Bona got hit in the face, and just gives up wide open dunks, just dunk after dunk, and but still gets enough uncontested rebounds so that like Mark Jones can compliment how good of a rebounder he is. I resent that.
Anything else?
I'm so upset that they cut it to like 12 or whatever in the second half and like made it interesting. It's just like you went down fucking 35 or whatever. And then you're like, okay, now time to be serious. It's like, it's such a joke. It's such a fucking joke. They should be so embarrassed. And I say that all the time. And that's why we have a little jingle about it.
They should be embarrassed. Gross. I'm embarrassed. It's egregious. Pathetic. Embarrassing. Awful. It's really, really bad. So frustrating. Everybody should be a little embarrassed.
I need like the horror movie,
Yes.
horror movie trailer version of that song.
Yeah, for sure.
Like haunting, eerie, ominous. But like I say it all the time, but like they should say it. There should be a sign that they hold up that says like, we're embarrassed. They should.
It'd be nice if one of one just said after a game like this, "Hey, I'm pretty embarrassed."
I'm embarrassed to be a part of this organization.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to wear this jersey.
Yep.
I'm embarrassed. Like Julius Erving wore this jersey, and Charles Barkley, and Moses Malone,
Eric Snow,
and Iverson.
Yep.
And like, we shouldn't be allowed to wear it. We should have to wear a different one, like a penny or like a T-shirt. Just like lose the jersey. Like if you're playing this badly, you should just have to be in like a T-shirt, not a jersey, like just truly like a jersey that you get at the team store. I was so repulsed by last night, man. I absolutely. And you know who doesn't deserve this is fucking Chumo KK. He comes in 10-day contract. He's trying to just perform. And they're like, what a miserable time. Let Chuma start if you're going to play like this. God damn it. What a miserable season.
Completely embarrassing. Well,
Fuck AU.
the thing about Ed Mbona, at least he knew it was going to happen.
Because he's from the future.
Yes.
Okay.
I was hoping you'd get that.
Yeah. I would wonder if he wouldn't be doing different stuff. But yeah, maybe there's a rule or something that he can't.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Briggs Auction. Boy, following the Sixers is not fun at all, but Briggs Auction is super fun. They're cooking right now. And CJ will tell you in a minute probably what his item of the week is, but they're cooking right now. It's tons of auctions. Briggs Auction in Delco, 4th-generation auction house, but all online. So download the app in the App Store or Google Play. Every week, new auction. My favorite ones, the Discovery auctions, because it's way more random stuff. There's estate auctions, Discovery auctions. They've occasionally had specific, ones. They've had like sports collectibles. They had a sneaker one. They had every Playboy magazine ever at one point, but there's a new Discovery auction up there right now. CJ, what is your item of the week in this week's auction?
Yeah, so I saw two things that piqued my interest. The first one is this handmade psychedelic rug. The description is an abstract polychrome rug, 4 foot by 3 inches by 4 feet. Pretty cool looking little area
cool.
rug.
Yeah.
It's got the unique shape, fun to look at.
Throw that in your living room.
Yeah, and then the other one is I see a collection of lighters pretty frequently on Briggs Auction, but
I used to be a Zippo guy when I was a teenager.
Something about the quality of a Zippo lighter really stands out. These are all like Philly-based companies, as they often are on Briggs. You can see a lot of like old memorabilia from older, sometimes outdated Philadelphia companies, which is cool from a historical aspect. But yeah, look at this one, Volunteer Firefighters Company from 1976.
And that one's only at $7, the high bid?
Yeah, $7 right now for like 5 lighters. So good
there you
deal.
Go. There you go. And that's the thing about Briggs Auction. A lot of the auction items start at $1. There's art, collectibles. There are furniture, clothing. You never know what you're going to find. And the best part is, it's like a lot of the stuff you find, you didn't even know you wanted until you saw it. Just download the app, check in once a week. You win an auction item, which I have. CJ has. There's open pickup on Saturday. Very easy. Do it by appointment during the week. They can work with you on a shipper. If you have stuff to sell, you have a bunch of stuff, might be worth something, send an email to info@briggsauction.com. You don't want to go anywhere else. Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process. It really is fitting that Daryl had his press conference about the trade deadline earlier in the day of this game, or was it the day before, whatever it was, but just like sort of trying to give everyone hope. And by the way, Daryl, stop ducking us. Come on the podcast. I know you did a press conference, but press conferences, it's like everybody's just trying to get a quote for their article. We'll ask you real questions. Won't be that mean to you. Stop ducking us. But for him to give this press conference about just sort of the hope of this season and the future, and for them to answer it with that Pistons game, really, really perfect. This first one, I think, let me see the order I had them in. This first quote from Daryl, just about on how they are handling the Embiid injury and how that'll work into the future.
His injury is one where you're managing his symptoms, swelling and pain. And, when those things happen, it's best for him to sit out. I know that Joel is doing everything he can and fighting to be out there as much as possible. And I think you heard his answer. He believes in this team. He believes in how it can come together. And he was praising of Tyrese and others who have kept us in it. If he's not out there, it's because his symptoms aren't allowing him to be out there. On this injury that he had last February and he had the procedure on, it's one that you manage symptoms. And we're optimistic long-term, talking to the doctors. And our understanding from talking with multiple experts, I think we're 7, 8, 9, 10 at this point of the top people in the world, all see this as one that over time will improve. This has been since that injury and that procedure where we have to constantly manage it. It should improve over time. In fact, it's anticipated to improve over time. That's been slower than we thought. We do think there will be a place in the future where the symptoms and that are reduced or go to zero, but we're still in the middle of that where, we have to manage it, and it's going to be based on symptoms, whether or not he's out there. Right now, he feels like he's in a great place, and it looks like it's in a great place. So we're excited for this stretch run where we might finally see this group together of our 3 stars, Paul, Joel, and Tyrese. And we feel like that team has a real shot. We've made our path to win harder, obviously. We're going to have to fight to probably get in the playoffs. And then we're going to have to fight to beat a very good team in the first round. But we feel like we would have had to play that team at some point to win the title anyway. And we're just focused on championship. And I know you have to squint a little, but we feel like this group can still do that.
So the first part on, I believe that he believes what he's saying about Embiid, but it sounds insane, doesn't it, to say that you believe that this will get better over time? It sounds insane to me.
There's always talk about like, hey, the year after the injury is.
He played 6 weeks after it, though.
Yeah, but he clearly wasn't right.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure they talked to all the doctors. I'm sure the doctors are like reasonably optimistic. It hasn't paid off to me. Like, it's just insane to like that he always rushes back. And then lately he's rushed back to half-ass.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you're going to, yeah.
Yeah, I can't figure out last night, if you're only playing when the symptoms aren't there, then why does it look like that?
Yeah.
That's the question I want to ask Embiid.
Yeah. I mean, odds are he's probably not going to be, this is me speculating. I know nothing. But he's probably out the next game, right? Just like when you play that badly, when it's that embarrassing, like he'll probably just miss the next game and just be like, oh yeah, and that's why.
By the way, Hubie Brown's final game is tomorrow.
Yeah, and by the way, like everybody doing like Hubie Brown tributes, it's like he's 1,000. It's about time, dude. It's about time. And of course his last game is a Sixers game to fuck with me. Of course it is.
Isn't it a little disrespectful to make his final game on Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah. That's what he deserves. Go watch games out there. You don't have to not watch games anymore, Hubie. You can still go on a podcast from time to time. You don't have to fucking travel around the country.
We'll let you come
saying the same shit. But they all say the same shit. Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
They all say the fucking same
that's a
stuff.
good point. They do all say the same shit.
There's so many, I hate when announcers do like puns. And then they like spend like the next minute of game time sort of complimenting each other on their puns.
Like what kind of pun?
Like if you're playing the Heat and being like, he's on fire. Like just like those kinds of like little like jokes like that. I'm just like, oh, I see what you did there. And then anytime we say I see what you did there, I think you have to just like turn the mics off.
That's fair.
But I like when when it was like Dave Pasch and Bill Walton talking about like random stuff during a game. That I think is funny. That is fun. When it's like, oh, the game is on and we're having a conversation about like tuna salad or something.
Right.
Like that's fun. That's, like the sort of like at a baseball game, like Larry Anderson or whatever, like you get into random discussions during a game. That's fine. I think it's fun. But like, if you're not going to do basketball analysis and you're not going to do like random stuff, just doing like vague puns about stuff, I'm just like, oh God, I got to turn it off. Congrats to Hubie. What a year. What a career. God bless you. I hope the Sixers lose by 1,000.
Do we want to hear more Daryl quotes, or do you just want to read emails?
I kind of don't give a shit about Daryl quote. I read them all, and
here's what I have left. Let's see if you want any of these. One about building around Embiid. One about the possibility of competing this season. One on Grimes and Butler, and one on Yabusele.
All right, give me Grimes, Butler, and Yabusele.
All right.
But the other stuff is just like
is bullshit, and it's just gonna make you mad.
It's bullshit. Gonna make you mad. The fact that it happened and be like when he doesn't play like on the same day of the worst game of like this era.
Right.
What an embarrassment. But hey, B-Ball Paul played good. It was good to see B-Ball Paul like absolutely sun the Sixers. He did also take like a 19-foot fadeaway that barely hit rim.
Yes.
God bless him. But
the tip dunk was
the tip dunk was sick.
Yeah.
And the steal on the inbounds when Joel is still laying there, like kind of feeling bad for himself, and Paul Reed is already stealing the ball. I love him. I miss him. What a guy.
So here is Daryl on Jared Butler and Quentin Grimes.
Well, we really love what we've added. Primarily, obviously, Quentin Grimes was a key addition. We love his fit with Tyrese. His ability to hit shots, his ability to be the primary defender of the guards on the perimeter. Jared, we see as someone who can really help us down the road as well. He's still in the early stages of his career. But one of the general themes we wanted to do at this deadline was get younger, get more dynamic. That's something that I feel like, just as we're always assessing ourselves and last off season, obviously things haven't gone according to plan, mostly with injuries. But I also think we were a little bit on the older side with a lot of the acquisitions of our role players, and we want to get younger both now and into the future. So
the fact that Eric Gordon's still here is just, I'll never get over it.
Why do you think Quentin Grimes is now on his third team in 5 years in the NBA?
Well, I think he was just he was like a late first round pick, right? Mm-hmm. So he goes to the Knicks and is sort of helpful, but in the same way that, like, I think he's like Landry Shamet-ish, except for a way better defender. And I think
probably not as good a ball handler.
No, I think he has about
as good. So?
I think about that much. Yeah, he's improving as a ball handler lately. The book of him of just being a catch and shoot guy is starting to, as he like gets better, hitting shots off the dribble, pulling up. I don't think he's getting the rim that much, but I guess I don't think Shamet gets the rim that much either.
Yeah.
It's a worthwhile question to ask, to be like, how good is this guy really? But like, I think nobody thinks he's one of the like core building blocks of a team. I think he's just really, really solid. I think, KCP has moved around a lot and he's still a good player that's useful. I think Dallas probably didn't want to trade him, but then they got Max Christie and felt like they could get, and because he was a restricted free agent, I think they could get Caleb at a really fair deal for it. I don't think it was a bad trade on the Mavs part. But yeah, you try to get younger. Something I support, obviously, but you made like 1.5 trades. Reggie Jackson for Jared Butler, I love it, I appreciate it, but Jared is a two-way right now and was a two-way on the Wizards, and so he's probably not someone that you're considering as, oh, he's going to be here for a really long time. Oh, he's going to be a really helpful player. I like him very much. I'm happy he's here, but it's still like on the fringes of the fringes. And so it's really just Quentin Grimes. So why, I mean, if you traded Eric Gordon for like, I don't know.
Nothing, just cut him. Just cut him.
Now you should cut him. But to not trade Eric Gordon for like, to the Magic, I'm obsessed with the Magic, I guess. For
the Magic are somewhere saying, we don't want to fucking guy. He doesn't even
they
try
should
hard.
though. They're fucking the worst shooting team in the league.
Yeah.
You should not trade Eric Gordon for like Caleb Houston, who's like just rotting on the Magic's bench, or Jet Howard or something, who's just like sitting there and go like, oh, okay, we got a young guy for a guy that we just signed for a veteran minimum. Let's see if this guy becomes something. Especially, when Daryl's on this podcast, I'm going to ask him 1,000 questions about it. I'm going to say like, show me your like text and email correspondence.
Buddy. Yeah, block off 3 hours.
I'm like, it is like patently insane to not trade Eric Gordon when he's had the hottest like month and a half of anyone's career, knowing that he was just playing hard to get traded, and he's still on the team, and they're 11 games under 500, and he doesn't give a shit. He's the worst off-ball defender I've ever seen. He just like does not. The effort couldn't be less there. I can't believe he's still here. Daryl, you got one younger guy, and you're saying like we got a lot younger. Like, no, you didn't, dude. Do more. They just, the trade deadline happening now, I resent like the Romans for the calendar that we have with the Roman calendar, that the trade deadline happened to land on this fucking time.
You know what they say about guys always thinking about Rome?
I'm never thinking about Rome, but the calendar was them, I think. And I fuck them for it happening now, because it's just like convincing themselves that they're like, we're right there. Look who's coming back. 4 games in a row. They lost the Nuggets by $1 billion. Nick Nurse had to blow a gasket. Then they come back and beat the Cavs, who've lost like 8 games this year. Then they win on a back-to-back. Then they beat the Lakers. Then they win on a back-to-back against the Kings. When they never do that, they never win back-to-backs. And they did it then at the worst possible time to convince themselves, hey, it's the year. I hate them. My life would be better if they didn't exist. I hate them so much. I hate them.
Here's Daryl on Yabusele.
I don't think you can ever be confident in an unrestricted free agent, but we feel very good. He loves it here. We love him. We just freed up more, more with Caleb's contract going out. We freed up more room in the future. So we feel very good about retaining Yabu.
I hope they do.
For us, I hope they do. For him,
Set
I
him
hope
free.
he gets out.
Set him free.
I hope he gets. I mean,
Set
he
him
doesn't
free.
deserve it. He doesn't deserve it.
All right. Well, the good news is you don't have to pay attention to the Sixers game tomorrow because the Super Bowl's on. So, well, I guess you don't really have to pay attention to the Sixers game ever.
Never.
We do, but
They're
you know they're
11
going to win
games
tomorrow.
under. They're 51 games into the season. They're 11 games under 500.
Let's say, I forget who asked me this.
And they were like, let's sort of like
Who asked me
stand in the
this?
middle of buying and selling at the deadline.
If somebody had told you before the season the Sixers would be 20-31, how would you have imagined that would have happened?
I would have imagined Joel was out for the year. Or
And
missed,
somebody
like,
else.
months.
Yeah. Because I still would have bet, even without Joel, they would have been better than 20-31.
Yeah. This season has gone as bad as it could go.
The worst than you could even imagine.
As bad as anything could ever go.
Yeah.
They start 3-14. We still believe in the team this year. Guys, what the fuck? It's insane that this has been the season it's been. They kind of went even at the deadline. I love Quentin Grimes. If he's here for a long time under a fair deal, I think that will be good. They got a little bit better on picks, but not much. At least they traded into the draft. So I appreciate them for that. But to not like clean a little bit more house and just add future assets that could help in the future, like hope would be nice. The fact that they're not going to get this top 6 pick probably because they are going to, eventually the Bulls and the Hawks will drop below them. Blazers have won like 9 in a row or something. 6 in a row. They've won like 10 of 11. Good for the Blazers. At least they have young guys playing well. And if they had lost those 4 games, or if they had lost 3 of those 4 games, they would be the 6th seed right now in the tanking lottery. And all they would have to do is hope no one jumps them. And they would keep the pick. And so whoever they don't get in the draft, this draft, when it doesn't convey, I am going to look at them. It's like the reverse Mike Muscala shot. It's like the opposite of that. I'm going to look at how we look at Maxey being like, oh, I'm so happy he's here. He was so close to not being here. I'm going to look at whoever, Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, Trey Johnson, Asa Newell. Like, I'm going to look at them forever and be like, should have been ours. But the fucking flukiest 4 games of all time. That's why we don't have them. And
There's a better
our life-
than 50-50 chance we wouldn't have had him anyway.
But if they landed at 6, that's
I think there's a 46% chance we get a pick.
But I'm going to blame them anyway. And I need you to know that. I will blame no matter what I'm blaming. I'm doing some blaming. It's just a miserable season, man. And to not end up with like really anything out of it is what a worthless time. But AU wants to go all in. So now it's time to do it.
I understand.
Hey, I've been sitting at this red light for a long time.
I understand what he's saying.
I've been sitting this red light for so long. I'm tired. There's a big Mack truck that's driving by right now. Time to accelerate.
His point is that it is unlikely to be any better next year.
I think it is certainly highly likely to not be worse than the worst season of all time.
That sounds like something you don't want to put out into the universe.
Fucking dare you to make next season worse, dude. I dare you to make next season worse than all this stuff. I dare you. I'm going outside and I'm screaming at God.
Oh,
I dare you to make next season worse than this. Do it.
Somebody make a song out of this.
No, because if somebody was out for the whole year, then at least they would be like, that's clarity. This is worse because the helpful people have been out for part of the year. McCain being one of them. You know, Caleb Martin for a time, KJ Martin, just like helpful role players, but Maxey, PG, and Embiid being like somewhat available here and there, and still being like complete losers. This has been the worst season, and to not own their pick and to be like hovering right where they are, awful, just awful. And you made the point of like they should have gone for it in previous years. Fine. That's fine. I can abide that. But this is not the year to do it. This certainly is not the year to do it.
It's never going to be the year to do it. So you might as well do it.
That's wrong. What is that?
I get what he's saying.
I'm never going to be like able to pay my mortgage, so I may as well like bet all the money I have on fucking Jack Stoll first touchdown.
Yeah.
This is reckless. That's reckless and illogical. Just win something, get some help on the other side, and then go like maybe next year, clean slate. You go for it. I'm not saying it's not over.
It can only next year. Everybody's going to be older.
But it's definitely not this year. It's certainly not this year.
Wouldn't it absolutely be ironic if it was, though? What if it is this year?
Great. Yes. Wouldn't it be ironic? Wouldn't it be ironic if the fucking Wizards never lost a game the rest of the season and then they stampeded the playoffs and then the Washington Wizards became the biggest destination in sports? Yeah, that'd be ironic. Sure. Last night was one of the more embarrassing games of all time. Yeah. And we've seen it so many times, them play that kind of game. And the idea that it's all going to come together right now. There's no more deadline. There's no more acquisitions they can make. They can get buyout guys, whatever. But like, what a pointless sack of shit season. And we still have Eric Gordon on the team. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. Spike, I cannot believe it that he's on this team. Daryl, come here so I can fucking ask you about it and you be goddamn honest.
Well, and I kept saying, I was sure he'd be gone. Sure. Because he doesn't want to be here.
And he was shooting so well and it was so clearly a mirage. Let someone else buy that.
Mm-hmm.
Because this year doesn't matter. It is a wasted piece of shit year. Mm-hmm. Paul George's finger is falling off.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe we're still doing this show. I can't believe the team they're still where they are. Why have we done this to ourselves?
We'll see you in the middle of the week. And
go Birds.
All right, go Birds. We'll talk to you next time. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah. You know, like face.